Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi, I'm Malik. Today I will discuss about the role of linguistics in life. In this video, we will explore further the role of linguistics. Before discussing the role of linguistics in life according to the branch of linguistics, we should first discuss what is linguistics. So stay tuned. Linguistics is study of language depending on the point of view and approach of a researcher. According to experts such as Laksana, stating that linguistics is a science that makes language the object of study. In the history of its development, it's looked for the nature of language as well as placing as an academic discipline. Linguistics has undergone three stages of development, namely the stage of speculation, observation and classification, and theory formulation. First, speculation. At this stage, statements about language are not based empirically, but on a mere fairy tale or story. This stage is also a common trait between the field of linguistics and literature. Second, observation and classification. At this stage, the expert makes observation and classify the language under investigation, even though they have not yet arrived at the formulation of the theory. The third, formulation of theory. At this stage, the concept of an ideal language then gave birth to various schools, understanding, approaches, and techniques of inquiry. When viewed from the timing, the history of development of the flow of linguistics can be grouped into three time scales. First, namely the early development period pre-20th century known as traditional linguistics. The second golden age 20th century was marked by the birth of structural linguistics, which later became popular with the term modern linguistics. And third, 20th century as the development of structural linguistics. Then, the linguistic functions. Its function is divided into two, namely the general functions and the function in language learning. General functions. In general, linguistics and language have the same function, namely to convey information. The main essence of language is for easy communication, to convey feelings, moods, and attitudes. Okay, the second function in language learning, namely providing information about the structure and function of the language system in general to the language teacher. It's playing an important role in determining the objectives, core, and approach of language teaching. Next, we will discuss what are the branch of linguistics. So, the branch of linguistics is divided into two, namely microlinguistic and macrolinguistic. Here, I will only discuss the micro part, or in general. The micro branch of linguistics are phonology and phonetics, morphology, syntax, and semantics. The first branch is phonology and phonetics, sounds of language. Phonology is a field of linguistics that studies the function of sounds to distinguish or identify words. The object of phonological research is the phoneme, or the smallest linguistics unit. Next, phonetics is a study that discusses the speech process. Phonetics explain how certain sounds are produced, both in terms of quality and quantity. While the role of phonology and phonetics is to learn how to produce language sounds produced by the human speech. Example of phoneme in Indonesian, for example, B and P are two different phoneme because bara and para different meanings. Another example, Mary, Larry, Jerry, Terry, Sari. If one element is replaced with another, the meaning will be different. Now, let's go to the second branch, is morphology. Morphology is a branch of linguistics that analyzes the structure, form, formation, and classification of words. It can also be said that morphology studies the intricacies of the word form and the function of changing the form of the word. The object of the research is morpheme, which is the smallest grammatical unit that has meaning. Examples of morpheme are affix, mian, mikan, etc., or particles, kah and lah. Next is syntax. Talk about the word in relation to others' word or others' element as a unit of teaching. Things that can be learned in the syntax include syntactic structure, including function, categories, and roles. Second, syntax units in the form of word, phrase, clause, sentence, and discourse. Matter relation to syntax such as mood, aspect, etc. The role of syntax is a certain semantic meaning that fills the syntaxing function. The role includes semantic meaning, namely active, passive, dative, possessive, actor, and recipient, etc. Okay, the last branch of linguistics is semantics. Semantics is a branch study the meaning of language. Things that are discussed in semantics include the nature of meanings, types of meanings, meaning relations, change in meaning, and other things related to the meaning of language. The role of semantics is society is very useful because people can find out the exact meaning in language, whether hearing the language, sing in its a text, or chatting with other people. The role of semantics is the leap of student major in language can make it easier to analyze language, both of the language that has been studied, the language that has not been studied, or the language that will be studied. This makes it easier to students if they want to become a teacher, can make it easier for them to explain to students. Not only that, studying linguistics also provides direct benefits to people who are involved in activities related to language. Examples of people who work are linguists, language teacher, translator, dictionary compilers, textbook compilers, and politicians. First, linguists. It can be helped complete and carry out their duties in language investigation. Second, language teacher can train and teach language skill. 3. Translator can help in getting good translation result. 4. Is dictionary compilers. It can help compose a complete and good dictionary. 5. Is textbooks compiler can help in choosing word and constructions the right sentence. And the last but not least is politicians. Help in their activities to communicate with many people. Okay guys, that is all for now. Later, assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.